Okay, we're live. What do we? Should we do like our intros first? Like, hi, hi everyone. My name's Maddie.
My name's Nicole.
I'm Jacqueline.
Hey, I'm Forrester.
I'm Hannah.
And today we're going to be discussing disability culture and advocating for a change with a focus on the word syndrome. So then who wants to do this slide?
I was kind of thinking like we would do the slides that we made. I don't know if that was anybody else.
Yeah. I could do someone else's slide too because I didn't really make any slides.
Forrester, do you want to do this one?
Yeah.
Do this one then.
So syndrome. So a basic definition of syndrome is a group of signs and symptoms that occur together and characterize a particular abnormality and condition. So it comes from the Greek synonym like sin, together, and drome, run. So our tagline for this is "We're all in this together." Sort of like how we are Penn State, and what's really important is society as a whole needs to address accessibility, especially as a Penn State, and we'll touch on that later.
All right, so the history of the word syndrome is it has a long medical history. It means that you have various symptoms, but not like one sure disease, and it can look different in everyone, which is also true of disabilities. There's not one direct cause, so there's not one direct answer in the medical definition of syndrome, but this definition has a negative connotation as it applies that there should be some sort of treatment or cure. It implies that there's something wrong. So that's sort of how we formulated our tagline, with the idea that, well, we don't want to look at it as if there's something wrong, but as this is a societal issue that we are in this together, just the way that syndrome is defined as symptoms running together. There's a lot of commonly known syndromes. Most people have probably heard of things like Down syndrome. It can be even used in psychological disorders, in what is now called factitious disorder, and things like Tourette's syndrome. So it's a very common word we use, but it's also important to note that there's been a large cultural shift away from using these terms. For example, Down syndrome became just Down syndrome to take away the possessiveness off of the researcher who founded it. And there's been other terms. So there's sort of a slow shift into realizing that a lot of the way we categorize syndromes is very negative and harmful to the disability community.
Another really important topic when it comes to disability is also something everybody knows of, which is called stereotyping. It's just the idea of overgeneralizing like a population or a group of people. Examples in just normal day life that most people have heard of has been dumb blonde, all Muslims are terrorists, men cannot be nurses, and various others. And then there's a lot of examples in disability, which are a person with a disability is brave or courageous. A person with a disability is helpless. A person with a disability are always wheelchair bound, which none of those things are 100% true. All of those can be in any different connotation or in any different way, because not everybody's wheelchair bound. Not everyone is helpless. Everyone's brave in their own way, but not just people with a disability. Does somebody else want to do this one since I just did one?
And I can jump in if no one else wants to. No mind.
I'm down for anything, guys. I'm
I just didn't want to go twice in a row.
Yeah, that would be awkward. That was great, by the way. Yeah.
Forrester, do you want to split it up then, so we can like segue?
Absolutely.
And like after she finishes, like I can jump in and be like, a way to avoid stereotyping and a way to ensure that we listen to the disability community. We use person first language, and then like you can read from the slide.
Yeah,
I like that.
Oh, sweet. And is there a later portion of the PowerPoint where we have more of an open dialogue with certain things, or is that with the Kahoot mainly?
No, we have the discussion questions.
Discussion questions, got it. Awesome. So first person language is really important. First person language is the idea of putting the person before the disability at hand. So an example is, instead of saying someone's an autistic person, saying a person diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. Another example is wheelchair bound, or a person who utilizes a wheelchair, or a deaf person, a person a person who is part of the deaf community. So yeah, it's really important to put like the person first, because if you say a deaf person or a wheelchair bound person, it pretty much categorizes them by the disability and not by the person. So it's important to recognize them as a person first, and then their disability opposed by just like lumping them, saying, oh, you're a disabled person. So yeah, first person language is really important, and I strongly advise like everyone to start putting that in their vocabulary.
So there are a lot of models of disability that have been studied by many researchers, and one that we have focused on in class is the social model. And this basically means that a person's disability stems from the barriers of society, and it's not the person themselves. And this includes attitudinal barriers and physical barriers. And attitudinal barriers such as ableism, which is when some person without a disability discriminates against people with disabilities. Or like, for example, they think that a person with a disability is incapable of doing something by themselves just because they have a disability. And then physical barriers are barriers in society that does not make every place accessible to people with disabilities. So if there's a building that doesn't have a ramp or no elevators, a person who is in a wheelchair cannot get into it. And some discussion questions. How have you guys seen attitudinal and physical barriers in your hometown or even here at Penn State?
I know we talked about in class about Beaver Stadium not being accessible to students, and in our student section that people that utilize wheelchairs cannot have access to that section, which is really sucky because they're not getting that experience that we're all getting.
Right. And I think it's important that I honestly didn't even know about that until I took this class. Like I didn't even know there was that kind of barrier here.
Mm-hmm. And even things such as like I looked at my apartment building, there's no ramp. Like there's only stairs, and you have to take the stairs to go anywhere. Like there's an elevator, but like in order to get inside, you have to go up or down stairs. So it's
we don't have elevators in my apartment building.
As a freshman, as a freshman, a lot of the renovated dorms are pretty accessible to everyone. But if you go to some of the old dorms, such as like in West, I personally know somebody who lives in West, and she doesn't use the elevator because it's so far away from where she would need to be. It's so out of her way. So if you utilized a wheelchair, it'd be so much harder to get to your own dorm if you live there. And a lot of buildings around campus, if you see, like there's a lot of construction going on, and sometimes the construction sites block the wheelchair accessible entrances, which is how are people supposed to get into their buildings and go to their own class if things are blocking it and not making it accessible.
Right.
And even there's a ton of physical barriers, but there's attitudinal barriers too, which is like I think you see so often in just the way people speak in conversations. Like they'll throw around really harmful words and terms that not only neglect person first language, but also are just like very negatively associated ways of describing certain disabilities or disorders. And I feel like you hear that constantly in like a college culture. So that's something that it's like on us to call out and to advocate for that to stop.
Right, exactly. And so that kind of goes along with, have you ever witnessed someone be ableist? And if so, how could you kind of implement what we know now to kind of talk to them about it?
So there's this one phrase that I hear a lot that I feel like is very ableist. That's a kind of like, oh, if a person with a disability can do that, I can do it. I have no excuse. And I think that's really detrimental because it's like, I think it's just really condescending. Yeah, exactly. It's like a person with a disability doing something impressive is not impressive because they have a disability. It's impressive because they did something impressive, you know? And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like,
I feel like that's the same way with how the stereotyping says all people with disabilities are like brave and courageous. I feel like that also goes with what he was saying about like, oh, that's crazy that they actually did that. Like, they're people too. Like they're just like us.
Yeah, it contributes to this idea that like, oh, they can do it even though there's something wrong with them, when really it's just something that's diverse and nothing that should be looked at as like something that holds them back. It's society that can hold them back.
Right, exactly. And that kind of goes along with that video that we watched in class when they were talking about inspiration porn and how when you see a video of somebody with a disability doing something incredible, they're so inspirational, which if they are doing something impressive, obviously that's inspirational, but it's not just because they have a disability.
Yeah, I personally saw that so much in my high school. Like everybody, anytime they saw a person with a disability do anything, they'd be like, "Oh, that's so like cute. That's so good." And like that's just so wrong,
right?
Yeah.
And then the last question, what are some ideas that we could do here at the Penn State community to act on these things that we're talking about and make it more inclusive, like make the campus more inclusive?
I think the first step is things like these broadcasts, just to educate people in our community and to spread the word and awareness. Like some people
whether
don't
that's
even
like
think
your
of
friends or
things not being
family.
accessible.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's definitely the most important first step.
It's important to like have these conversations with people who haven't taken a class like this or like don't really know anything about disability. And kind of like educate people on the subject more.
Yeah,
agree with that.
And then like once we educate people, like we can start to, you know, like contact the student government and contact certain organizations that can actually push for like change and appear to like the actual board and stuff like that.
Right, exactly.
So wait, I know you guys said earlier that like a lot of like the Penn State facilities are not entirely accessible. I just moved here. Do you guys think like some of like the downtown and the businesses are accessible? Because I know that's a huge part of being a Penn State student and part of the community. Like are those places?
Well, I mean, Dr. Jess said it herself. There's like a pizza place downtown that's apparently very popular, especially at night, late night. That is below ground, so you have to walk downstairs to get down to it, which is not accessible at all.
And down Calder Alley, there's a bunch of those
things.
There's a bunch like the Indian restaurant. There was a coffee place. They're all downstairs.
I think there's a Chinese food restaurant on the bottom level too.
A burger place. So it's like you're limited in options for food, which shouldn't be. That's like a societal barrier.
There's stairs still going into some of these places too. Like not even just,
that's what I've noticed so
even
far.
Those top things.
Yeah. Well, when I was researching accessibility at Penn State, even there was a girl who talked about how during the winter, when it snows, when things are slippery, like it's so with the cobblestone roads or with the sidewalks, it's so difficult for her to get around campus during that time, which it's just very inaccessible and hard for her to get around.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can go on to the medical model now.
Here we go.
Okay. Oh, hey. My roommate's home. Oh, no, you're fine. This is just a practice one. So the medical model is very common in Western societies especially, and this kind of explains that people with disabilities must be quote unquote fixed to live a fulfilled life. And this really focuses on the person with the disability having or being the problem rather than society being the problem, which would be the social model. And it also focuses on how others have to fix them, again, quote unquote, like doctors can cure them and they have to be cured in order to live life as well as a person without a disability. And then
so the reason we wanted to address this model in addition to the social model, even though the social model is what many people are in favor of and seems to be the most beneficial currently, we wanted to talk about the medical model because the word syndrome, which is the word that inspired our tagline, is really connected to the medical model, and that it implies that there's something similar to a disease that's wrong with a person that can then be fixed or that should be fixed. So we wanted to discuss this model and, you know, show why it can be really harmful, even though some things may have genetic or medical origins.
Yeah, I think it's also important to mention that the medical model is still partially good. Just if it's like entirely medical model, it turns into like fix or like, as you were just saying, syndrome. So like if a person with a disability wants to use the medical model to do a certain thing or like to improve something, like they can do that. But like, obviously the social model, which we'll talk about, is obviously the best one.
Well, like
the medical model by itself.
Yeah, like we watched in that documentary, he came to he was perfectly happy with how he was living his life, but he came to the US and was able to get a prosthetic leg, and he used it when he wanted to, but it wasn't like that. Just kind of factors into the medical model how like some things are good, but there's parts of it that aren't good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. He didn't need it. Like he was an amazing athlete without it. He was
living.
Yeah, he is an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that conversation kind of goes along with the first discussion question. So what types of training should medical professionals receive in order to avoid stereotypes such as this? And I kind of agree with what you were saying, Forrester, how we should like focus on the medical model when the person wants to have some aspect improved or think that they could live better with something improved by a doctor. But I do think that it's important for doctors to think that they don't have to cure everybody. Like not everybody wants to be fixed.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that should be the same thing for like therapists too.
Yeah. A great example of that is with the cochlear implants with like people who are deaf. We're like they don't need it and they don't want it because deaf is like a culture in itself, and it's like kind of erasing that if you get rid of so yeah, it's interesting.
Right, because the medical model on its own as like the only model to look at is harmful. Like it's obviously very important to address certain things that can be addressed if the person wants to. And I think professionals should be educated in a sense with just having discussions and awareness the way we are, and understanding that certain people with disabilities don't want to be fixed or don't want that quote unquote cure.
And why do you think it's so much more prevalent in like Western societies, like here than in other societies? Like that documentary we were watching, how when he was in, I can't remember what country.
Ghana.
Ghana. They just thought he was like a goner, like there was nothing you could do about it, you know what I mean? But then he came over here and they were like, we're gonna fix this.
Yeah, I think it just factors like it's about in Western culture, our medicine is just very advanced and very modern, which it's not always in other cultures. And in Ghana especially, they are very much, they use the moral model of disability, where it views disability more as something from the gods or something to do with karma. You're born with it, and they kind of shun you away. They don't really think about ways for you to cope with it or live with it. They more just kind of push you away and say, that's what you get, like that's how you're born, like deal with it. And sometimes they even result to just completely isolating people with disabilities.
And the medical model was also created. The medical model was also like made like in like the Western countries, like in the United States and stuff. So that's also like kind of why we've adopted it more, because we like created it.
Right.
I feel like partially why it's so much more prevalent over here and like this side of the world is because that we have this idea of like normalcy. Because when we watched I can't remember what the movie was called. What was the movie called? We watched in class.
The art of what is it?
Music Within?
Music Within. Yeah.
Music Within. Yeah.
When we were watching it, like how they had the ugly law that was that they literally kicked people out of a restaurant because they were disturbing people that were eating because he wasn't a normal person. As they would say. And like I feel like that's why it's so prevalent, because the United States pushes that normalcy. And I feel like the people in, like, if you had said in Ghana, they're not like, oh my God, you're so unnormal. And they're going to say, oh, you're just given this gift from the gods and this is how this happened.
Yeah. And then you pair that with like Western medicine, like in a lot of Western societies, Western medicine is so prevalent that like it's looked at as the only answer. Like even just for a headache, we take medications rather than, drinking water or resting. So like we have such a heavy emphasis on medication that it leads to this model being very prevalent, as everything can be fixed with like Western medicine.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's move on to the next thing.
Okay. We might want to move. Yeah, we might want to move this slide up because some of like just because it kind of ties into the
mentioned,
discussion questions. But we can just go with it now. So accessibility at Penn State, as a community at Penn State, both students and faculty, we are responsible for making sure that our campus and our community is inclusive and accessible, which tags into our tagline. So the accessibility statement for Penn State, and this is found on the Penn State website, is Penn State is committed through our policy AD 69 to ensuring that people with disabilities have an opportunity equal to that of their non-disabled peers to participate in the university's programs, benefits, and services, including those delivered through electronic and information technology. So this statement is more focused on the technological aspect and the class aspect at Penn State. So researching policy 8069, it's the accessibility of electronic and information technology. So that basically just ties into making sure that all students are equal in their accessibility to online resources, websites, making sure that they can go to class. And this is especially prevalent with the current pandemic, and making sure that all students at Penn State are able to access their classes. And whether that means they have someone with them while they're logging on to Zoom, or if they have somebody just with them, helping them, making sure everybody has equal access. And then another part of the accessibility at Penn State is the student disability resources. So we kind of see this at the beginning of the year with all of our courses, how the professors mention that if you talk to the Student Disability Resource Center, if you have a disability and need an accommodation for your class. So that is just, again, making sure everybody has equal opportunity when it comes to taking a course, taking an exam, whether that's more time on an exam, somebody to help them read or hear, just any of that. So
yeah.
Okay, and then this is more the physical accessibility aspect at Penn State. So even though Penn State has made great strides in accessibility, especially in technological accommodations for students online and with class, there are still physical barriers at Penn State, like we talked about. Again, Beaver Stadium, the student section is not accessible. And buildings some of the entrances are blocked. Dorms are sometimes difficult to get into, buildings downtown. But one thing that helps and can make Penn State more accessible is the University Access Committee. So the University Access Committee approaches accessibility holistically and seeks to provide features congruent with known priorities. And so that is a comment from the ADA Faculty's Access Coordinator. And when I was researching accessibility at Penn State, I came across this article on the Daily Collegian, and it's basically about how accessible Penn State is to students with disabilities, and it has firsthand accounts from a student with a disability that goes to Penn State. She has a spinal disability and utilizes a wheelchair. So that was very interesting, and I have the link here in case anybody wanted to read it. But because Penn State is a large public school, they are required to implement certain accessibility aspects to the campus, such as ramps, elevators. But again, some of the older buildings and downtown are not up to date with some of the accommodations that people might need. So, yeah.
All right, Kahoot time. Let's go.
Wait, I feel like, should we?
We don't have to do the Kahoot right now if we don't.
Yeah, no,
we should to see time-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think we're
so
definitely
I have to host the Kahoot?
because it says
Or
we're
should
almost
someone
at
else share
25
screen?
minutes.
I can share the Kahoot. So I'm gonna remove your screen share, and then
Perfect.
I'm gonna share.
Yeah, I think I like how this is going so far. I think this is good. Yeah.
We're hitting 25 right now, so if the Kahoot takes 5 minutes, we're good.
And we'll be a little less probably because we won't have to discuss about like who wants to do this, who wants to do that. So.
And,
I mean, if we go over 5 minutes, is it a big deal or no?
No,
Like,
it's minimum of 30.
right?
So
Yeah.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
fine.
minimum.
Oh my gosh. We could take all the time in the world. Like, we're fine. Yeah.
All right. So
Perfect.
we can
Ready.
What am I?
Arson, let me join. I'm gonna join. I'm gonna ace
let's
this.
join on our phones.
No, we can't.
Yeah,
Actually,
my
can
phone.
we play or no? That's not fair if we play, is it?
I feel like we should.
Well, we can play right now.
Yeah,
Just
we'll play
to
right now.
Do it for the fact of.
Yeah,
Can you
this
guys
is.
hear
Yeah, we're totally fine. No.
Can you hear the music?
No.
The music's annoying anyway, so it's fine.
Okay, I can hear it, so I'm just gonna turn it down for me then.
Just get rid. Yeah, we don't. We're spared by that stressful
We
music.
just go to. Oh, I'm so dumb.
Kahoot.it.
There we go.
I'm ready. I'm prepped.
I have an unfair advantage because I wrote some of the questions.
Because I feel like it's also going to take people to like load into the Zoom this thing.
That's gonna take 5 minutes on its own.
So who's gonna play? Are you guys like roommates and stuff all gonna play the Kahoot? Like they don't have to even watch the thing if you just make them play the Kahoot. Be like, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna start it then.
Yeah. That'd be so awkward if it's like
if it's just us.
us.
I mean, it works though. Where does the tag thing? Here, on this together come from?
I have no idea. Oh yeah, for sure. High School Musical. I love that. That's funny.
Got it wrong.
Answer the moral model.
Me.
Did you do that on purpose or no?
No.
Sir.
I had a brain fart.
And you were the one that's like, oh, I'm gonna ace this.
The tagline "We are in this together" comes from the roots of the word, which means symptoms running together. So we kind of put a spin on that and decided to advocate for the social model.
I just didn't think I understood that. Like, wow. I put the worst
okay, I got
possible.
0.
All right, catch up time.
All right, we can
comeback season.
Probably.
I wrote this question.
Greeks treat people with disabilities.
Did we talk about this in the thing though?
No.
Yeah, somebody did.
I don't think we talked about the treatment.
Yeah.
This is from class.
It was just course material. It was just course material. I just added it. And we can just talk about it when we're doing it.
We could just make this one like we could be like, this is a fun fact. Well, it's not fun.
Yeah, you can say that.
But these are morbid facts about disability. We're gonna put it on the Kahoot. We're good.
This is a trivia fact. We just wanted to see if people would know if they were aware that in a lot of human history, people with disabilities were treated really horribly. So it's a very new and still,
yeah. I mean, it's more fun if they don't know the answers.
Yeah. So we
they don't know the answers to everything. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more interesting if they don't know all the answers. So yeah. Poor me. I mean, I just messed it up.
Wonderful. This would go to the idea of stereotyping and how people with disabilities should not be used as inspiration
for
living their lives.
Woo!
Yeah.
Street.
Man, you're on a street. You're killing it. You're killing it.
Yeah. Multi-selecting what? I don't like it.
Changing it up.
Submit. Bruh.
Oh, I forgot this is brand. This you can pick more. I've never done one of these.
Oh, I didn't do that. I only picked.
Oh, I got it right. Oh,
wait.
I've never done that.
So
that confused me.
2 correct answers. I'm hoping people do this wrong so we can talk about 2 correct answers because disability is a really complicated thing that's different in everyone. It can be defined as something that hinders someone's ability based on the way society limits them, but it also is something that's explained very differently depending on who you ask. So both of those are correct.
Woo!
Wonderful.
Sweet. No, I hit
For
the
anyone
wrong one.
watching,
No.
Forrester, dude,
That's the wrong
you're
one.
failing today.
No, I know the answer is true. I mean false, but I hit the wrong one. I'm not gonna honestly.
doing too
I
hot.
should just do this.
You're subconscious
Yeah,
getting back.
I should just
You're
drop
getting
this class. I promise I have 100% in this class right now.
I think I have like a 92.
Actually, no, I don't have 100. I have like a 97. Because
Wonderful.
I almost picked the wrong model
Paying
for a second.
attention.
one of the quizzes was like hard. Yeah.
Well, we hit our 30 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is
30
gonna be
minutes.
perfect for time then, because we'll be at like what, like 35 or something, or like
Show
that'll be
me,
great.
yeah.
You must fight back against society.
I think I actually got this one. No, I got it right down.
I was getting creative. Syndromes must be eradicated.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, despite being used so often, stereotype harmful. True or false?
Shortful? What?
Wonderful.
That one almost got me.
We're smart. Because people complain.
I mean,
love
is that
Which is
it wrong?
Oh wait, I
putting
think I
that.
got it wrong. Frick.
I
put-
that the
I mean-
model is what we're moving towards, so I was trying to trip you up.
You tripped
got
me
me.
up. You got me.
You got me.
Oh,
I got
so
booted.
oh my god.
Nicole.
I'm so good at Kahoot.
Wow.
Kahoot just stresses me out. I don't like it.
It makes me anxious.
I love
I mean,
So
good thing
this
the
is
music's
how-
not going.
So,
In high
yeah,
school-
the music is stressful.
Kahoot was my thing.
In high
Really?
school,
We can
Kahoot
connect this
scared
back
me.
to person first language, and we can say like, if one of you guys want to say like, yeah, this is an important question because we should always use person first language first, but if someone with a disability like specifies otherwise, like
Yeah.
that, we should honor that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good preface to say. Like, if they want to be, like, they identify as an
Mhm.
autistic person or whatever.
Yeah.
whatever.
Hey,
Exactly.
girl, you booted me.
That's fine.
What?
I'm sad. I'm gonna cry.
How
What
many
happened?
questions? Oh, there's 13.
Oh, my phone's gonna die.
What question are we even on?
Submit.
Oh, 11. Oh, this is great. Because the Kahoot itself is taking like 6 minutes. Not even, like 5 minutes. Can we do to change this?
But especially with people. Oh, there were 3. Oh, I'm sad. There was 3.
I got
I
it.
only picked 2.
Basically, we have a lot of work to do before society is accessible for everyone. And that's the point of our
Yeah.
broadcast.
Hell yeah.
Wow, Nicole got booted.
What?
You guys are in, like, the 10,000s.
Yeah, you got booted.
6,000s.
You just got to be really fast at this game.
Yeah, that's the
I
key.
take my time.
Do any of you guys want to like talk about the questions afterward? Like because I feel like I'm talking so much. If I'm like at the end of each question, like, yes, it is absolutely.
I could do that.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
Like,
Yeah.
feel free to
Yeah,
jump
we'll
in
do
on
that.
any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And
Absolutely. And I think we'll be more likely to talk.
Nicole's mad. She got
Oh
booted.
my god.
There we go.
Wonderful. Yay.
Wonderful.
Thank you guys for
Wow.
participating.
I won.
Yay.
I got 3rd. Whoa!
Wait, oh, I thought you. Wait,
I got booted.
where am I?
You didn't.
You're
I'm
not
not
even
even
on the
You
leaderboard,
didn't
I'm not
dude.
even on it.
You
Oh
got
my god, I feel
fourth
left
place.
out now.
All right, so thank
know
you
what?
everyone
I'm
for
proud.
playing our Kahoot, and then I'll stop sharing.
Thanks for watching my TED Talk.
I love it.
We
So
hope you guys learned
even
something.
without like the random talking, we still hit 34 minutes.
Yeah.
I
That's really
think
good.
we'll be great. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
we'll-
Oh,
we
we'll
can
be
just
fine if we
wrap
just
it up.
do it.
After
We're
we end the
set. We'll do
Kahoot,
it
come
Sunday.
back
Yeah.
here, and we'll like
Yeah.
give a thank you and be like, we hope you guys learned something. Like, please like advocate for the same
Yeah.
cause and like educate your friends
Mm-hmm.
and Have a lovely day. Like,
Lovely day.
Yes, sorry guys that we're pushing back. I would like love to just get it done now, but like
Yeah.
I completely
Fine.
missed that. Like
It's
in the
probably my
group chat.
fault because I pushed it so late.
No, that's not your fault at all. Yeah. So I mean,
I was
it's,
dumb.
yeah, we'll do it Sunday at any point, like in the afternoon. We'll
It
be
was
fine.
easy. It
And
went
Yeah,
we could wing it.
30
We're
minutes of our
fine.
time.
it'll go quick.
I might look over my slides because I was completely just off the cuff doing it,
Yeah.
and I might prepare like
I was
more
too.
things. But
Yeah, me
like, yeah, but like, I think we're like really good. I think this is awesome. So
I
I
let's
like
try to
to be
figure
able
out.
to see our time in the corner too.
I
That's
know.
helpful.
Yeah.
Well, let's
As
get a
we
set time so
go
I can
on
give
Sunday,
people
we
in my
might
house a
do
notice.
it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, I gotta bounce.
Have
Thanks so much,
fun.
guys.
Have fun. We'll
Wait,
see
how
you
do I
Sunday.
leave?
Guys.
I'm
See
gonna
ya.
hop in.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.